This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. Find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Henshin Inspection presents Writer Tears. I will be discussing the bad and good of Geats Episode 3 and Peak Design. Kamen Rider Geats Episode 3, Encounter 2, Zombie Hunting, originally aired September 18, 2022. The writer is Yuya Takahashi. The director is Teruaki Sugihara. Starting off with the bad, I want Handsome Daan-Pa back. Or Dan-Pan, whatever it is. I don't know. This kid who has it now, who has the Daan-Pa ID core, whatever it's called, he doesn't really make sense to me. He's effectively written as a character to root against, but unless there is more to him, this is not a well-constructed foil. He's fairly flat. Well, I was going to say fairly one-dimensional, but that's the same thing, isn't it? So I'll move on from him. Next thing is, there weren't enough extras to really sell the idea that Keiwa was earning so many points by saving people. We saw him save 3 people. One time there were a group of 3 people like behind him who ran off, and then he got his he got the boost buckle, which is kind of exciting. We'll see what happens with that one next episode. So later, when Mary said that he was saving people, there was not a single civilian to be saved. There was no extra in that scene, so it came off odd, and it didn't really work for me. Moving on to the good, these helmet designs are so good. Each one has a lot of detail, personality, and character put into them. Buffa has hair, Daan-Pa has an expressive mouth and looks playful and sinister depending on the angle. Nago has beautiful detailing that makes it feel elegant and ancient but still dangerous. Tycoon has some personality, but I haven't seen enough of him to really make a full assessment. And I think Geats and Tycoon are both kind of these blank slates that can evoke different feelings as needed, which is, an accomplishment in and of itself. Let's see. I like the fact that we don't really know what everyone's desire is and how that makes for tension, mystery, and character moments. For example, when Neon said that she wished for her prince, we got that background detail on her through Keiwa's flashback with his sister. And later on, she hinted that her desire was something else entirely, and it seemed she was misleading the others. The presence of a secret desire adds intrigue and opportunities for misdirection. It also... it's almost like there are 2 games at play, that against the Jyamato and that against the other players. That layering is fun. And next thing, Keiwa being rewarded for saving people is cool. I especially like that he got boost, and I wonder if he will get the bike, or if he could maybe get boosted arrows in the next episode. That would be pretty cool to see. I'm pretty sure that per game or per round, those items reset, so he would have to use it here in the zombie hunting one. Otherwise, he doesn't get to keep it. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Maybe. I don't know. The rules are still making themselves known, so it's not 100% clear, but we'll see what happens. All right, so I got a couple questions. Are we getting a different rule at the end of each episode? I can't quite tell. I'm not tracking it. This last one was about dying in real life if you die in the game, so I didn't go back and check the other 2. Next question, is it fair that Geats keeps using the environment to win rounds? Do you like that? And what I mean is, like this episode, he flooded some room and then unleashed all the water at once to power up his water attack. And he took out all those zombies at once. And Nago, for some reason, was unharmed. I don't know if it's because it was like an anti-friendly fire type thing or what. But then again, if she was bitten by a zombie in that room, then that would have worked against her there. But maybe she was bitten by a zombie elsewhere later on. I don't know. Next question. Is Ace going to get called a toxic gamer for schooling Nago on how to defeat the zombie horde? That was a fun moment for me. So much so that I used it for the thumbnail, or for the episode image. And yeah, I think it works. It was cute. It was fun. Apparently she's either a fake gamer girl or she's not a gamer girl at all. So she didn't quite remember that the number one thing to kill a zombie is to go right for the head. So anyway, I'm going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. The action was top notch. The characters have me hooked, and I'm excited at the metagame going on between them, even more than the Jyamato aspect of the Desire Grand Prix. I like the rules of the game and that the world is being slowly shown as needed by the story. And I do have a little reflection here. What is the value of peak design? Because I do think we're seeing some very high level designs here. And I'm just going to put it very simply. I think the value of peak design is that it catches the attention of the audience, especially in a visual medium like this, and that it makes you invested, and it can make you invested in somebody before you have a chance to really get to know them. And I think that's good because really the show only has a short amount of time to grab anyone viewer's attention and retain it in order to draw them in. And if you have to have the flashy eye candy in these cool suits, and if you have to do that by making the helmets really good and the items, really interesting, really compelling, and then having these simple black base model suits without any frills, I think there's something to that, and I think there's actually a merit to that, and there's a merit to making them so simple otherwise. It actually, because this is important to me, it actually calls to mind the fact that in Kamen Rider, the original, all the mooks were essentially the same. There were a couple different sub-varieties, but they were basically the same. They started out with the berets, and then they went to the wrestler masks, or that's how I know them, for luchador masks. And at first, they would have slightly different face markings and things like that, and things that indicated that they belonged to each, shocker general or whatever you would call them. So Scorpion Man, Mantis Woman or Mantis Man, I can't remember now. But these different, Spider-Man, Batman, all these different people would have different people who were kind of keyed to them or tuned to them. But I'm pretty sure they were just reusing the same exact sets and putting a different placard on a wall. They'd paint a spider here or a scorpion there or things like that in order to differentiate them. And it's kind of playing on the reskinning, swappable character, video game aesthetic, where you have all these characters who are just tweaked versions of each other, or palette swaps, you could say, even. And I think that's pretty cool. I actually think it's a clever use of resources, especially for the show where the game is created by one entity, or as one effort. So it would make sense that all the characters are different, or are the same, except for where they have to be different, which is in the thing that gives them each of them their individual identity. And I think that's pretty cool. I'm curious as to what the final form will look like, because people are kind of complaining that these Reiwa era final forms are just the final form, or the base form with a stripe on it or a color, or it's as powerful as a final form, but it looks almost identical to the base form, which I personally think is a good choice. And I think if you could do clever things change a little bit of the color here, or add a line or something like that to the design, that makes a lot of sense. That's actually a better way to do things, to keep it more simple, more Showa style. Because this thing where Forze, his form comes to mind, but also builds final form, genius form is ridiculous. I wouldn't mind having the base form be able to access all those powers, but visually having it look so grotesque and such an amalgamation of every, literally an amalgamation of every one of the, I want to say gacha toys, but that's not the right term. Collectible item toys, that just doesn't do it for me. That doesn't work. You can have the collectible items, but you gotta figure out a way to make it clever, because you should be selling me on the characters and make me want to buy things based on those, not on the items. Although I did just say that the blessing of peak design is that you draw me in visually, but still, there has to be substance there. It can't just be, there's got to be the steak, it can't just be the sizzle, even if I'm going to want to buy the sizzle afterwards. But I only want to buy it because I love that steak so much. If you forgive me mixing my metaphors in such an awkward and crude way. But yeah, I think that's the value of peak design. And I do think we're getting peak design in this show. Everything goes with black, and like I briefly touched on earlier, the way that the individual designs are distinct from each other, and have their little tweaks and have their little nuances to them. It's beautiful, it's simple, it's good, it's iconic. Each rider is iconic without having to have an overly designed bodysuit. And I'm kind of thinking about Ryuki and how similar but different those suits all were from each other, and it makes sense to me to do it like this. Strip it down even farther than they did in Ryuki, let's say, and just have the head be different. Have the head be different, and have the items or accessories that they have be a little more different and distinct from one another. But then have them swappable from rider to rider. It was super cool to see Geats using the zombie core, the zombie arm and zombie leg. They were super cool to see, and I thought it was actually absolutely fabulous. So, stunning visually, and it, opens your eyes, causes you to pause, and really, opens you up to being exposed to the characters for who they are. And I think that's wonderful. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and get out of here. By the time this is published, you'll be able to access the Don Bros 29 analysis, as well as the Futo PI Episode 8 analysis. So please do that. Check those out. You can find them over at mjwindows.com. with all my other analysis, art, and fiction. And stay tuned here for me to give you updates on the Godzilla-inspired children's picture book I'm working on. After that one, there will be something else inspired by early 60s to 70s tokusatsu. I guess whatever the next big thing was in tokusatsu and the henshin boom, you could say, is what the next story will be based on. And that script is actually already written, so I just have to, hopefully I can work with the same artist and we'll just kind of double down and get things going in an even smoother fashion from here on out. So hopefully book one happens within a month or two, and then after that I can work on getting everything paced out, and I'll know exactly what I'm doing for producing these books, and then they can just kind of come out as they come out, and I think that'll be great. So anyway, stay tuned for all that stuff. This is MJ. I leave you with peace and blessings. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, you can find more at mjmunoz.com, as well as my entire library of analysis, art, and fiction.